Good Thursday, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Conversations Daily News. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. Well, we made it over the hump, and we're in the home stretch towards the weekend. We, of course, have your news headlines coming up today. We have the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and in today's Entertainment Spotlight, you're being part of my conversation with home improvement expert Bailey Carson. Enjoy today's broadcast. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your Thursday headlines. In national news, Minnesota cop will be charged in shooting of motorist. A prosecutor said Wednesday that he will charge a former suburban Minneapolis police officer with second-degree manslaughter for killing 20-year-old motorist Dante Wright in a shooting that ignites days of unrest and clashes between protesters and police. The charge against former Brooklyn Center police officer Kim Potter was filed on Wednesday, 3 days after Wright was killed during a traffic stop, and as the nearby murder trial progresses for the ex-officer charged with killing George Floyd last May. The former Brooklyn Center police chief has said that Potter, a 26-year veteran and training officer, intended to use her taser on Wright, but fired her handgun instead. However, protesters and Wright's family members say there's no excuse for the shooting, and it shows how the justice system is tilted against blacks, noting Wright was stopped for expired car registration and ended up dead. Intent isn't a necessary component of second-degree manslaughter in Minnesota. The charge, which carries a maximum penalty of 10 years in prison, can be applied in circumstances where a person is suspected of causing a death by culpable negligence that creates an unreasonable risk or consciously takes chances to cause the death of a person. As how he arrived at the charging decision, it was said, "I think it'll be evident when you read the complaint," which was not yet available at the time of this report. Potter, 48, was arrested Wednesday morning at the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension in St. Paul. Her attorney did not immediately respond to messages from the Associated Press. In more national news, Biden to pull U.S. troops from Afghanistan and end forever war. President Joe Biden said Wednesday he will withdraw remaining U.S. troops from the forever war in Afghanistan, declaring that the September 11 attacks cannot justify American forces still being there 20 years after the deadliest terror assault on the U.S. His plan to pull out all American forces, numbering 2,500 now, by this September the 11th, the anniversary of the attacks, which were coordinated from Afghanistan. The U.S. cannot continue to pour resources into an intractable war and expect different results, Biden said. The drawdown would begin rather than conclude by May 1st, which has been the deadline for full withdrawal under a peace agreement the Trump administration reached with the Taliban last year. It is time to end America's longest war, Biden said, but he added that the U.S. will not conduct a hasty rush to the exit. We cannot continue the cycle of extending or expanding our military presence in Afghanistan, hoping to create the ideal conditions for our withdrawal, expecting a different result, said Biden, who delivered his address from the White House Treaty Room, the same location where President George W. Bush announced the start of the war. "I am now the fourth United States president to preside over an American troop presence in Afghanistan. 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats. I will not pass this responsibility to a fifth," he said. The decision marks perhaps the most significant foreign policy decision for Biden in the early going of his presidency. In business news, Ponzi schemer Bernie Madoff dies in prison at 82. The infamous architect of an epic securities swindle that burned thousands of investors outfoxed regulators and earned him a 150-year prison term, died behind bars early Wednesday. Madoff's death at the Federal Medical Center in North Carolina was confirmed by his lawyer and the Bureau of Prisons. Last year, Madoff's lawyers unsuccessfully asked a court to release him from prison during the coronavirus pandemic, saying he suffered from end-stage renal disease and other chronic medical conditions. His death was due to natural causes, a person familiar with the matter told the Associated Press. And finally, in entertainment news, Nielsen and networks clash on stats showing fewer viewers. People have been stuck at home for a year due to COVID-19 restrictions, with movie theaters closed, concert venues closed, restaurants closed, sports attendance restricted, yet television viewing is down? That makes no sense to networks and cable and satellite providers who are complaining that the Nielsen company isn't accurately counting how many people are actually watching. Nielsen's reply in a nutshell: the truth hurts. It's an argument with financial implications since networks later this spring begin selling advertising for the next year. Fewer viewers equal fewer ad dollars. Last week, for example, average primetime viewership on ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox was down 16% from the same time in 2020. The decrease would have been steeper if not for the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship game, which wasn't held last year. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. It's now time for the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich. Mary Ellen, take it away.
Hi, this is Mary Ellen with your Truth of the Day. Be gentle with yourself. During the times in your life when you are filled with change, turmoil, or misperceptions, it is very important to be gentle with yourself. Do not run yourself down, keeping up the momentum of your usual day. You might not even notice the fact that your life is in a whirlwind heading for a crash. It is important for you to become aware, to recognize life as it changes around you. Being gentle with yourself means you accomplish what you can and leave the rest for another day. It means you honor yourself. It means you take care of your needs, the needs of your body. Then you can take care of others. Of course, honoring yourself means different things to different people. For you, it might mean taking an hour of stillness to meditate, going for a pedicure or manicure, having a session with a healer, getting a massage, or simply getting some extra sleep. Whatever honoring yourself means to you, be sure you take time to do it. Today, create space for a more positive, loving, and accepting view of your life and yourself as you go about and enjoy the day.
We have Bailey Carson, home improvement expert, joining me in today's Entertainment Spotlight, right here on Conversations Daily News. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with the Entertainment Spotlight. Home improvement expert Bailey Carson joined me recently on Conversations Live, the radio show, to share some tips to kind of get your house freshened up for spring. Here's a bit of our conversation.
We have all been spending quite a bit of time at home these days, Bailey, over the past year, whether we're talking about spending time with the family, even working like myself, exercising, everything. So do you have any tips to kind of help us get the most out of the space that we have at home?
Yes. And you are so right. We have spent more time in our homes in the past year than we probably ever thought we would. And I think that it's really about utilizing the space that you have and making the most of it. So you mentioned that you're working from home. If you haven't formalized a home office, this is a great time to do so, as we're going to be working from home a bit longer, most likely. So invest in that comfortable furniture, good lighting, and a happy work environment for yourself will make such a difference in your day-to-day. Even think about a fresh coat of paint to brighten up the space. Additionally, your kitchen is... Yes. Your kitchen is another place I'm betting you've spent a lot of time, given that restaurants haven't really been an option. So even if you're just plating takeout, you're probably in the kitchen quite a bit. And I think there are things you can do on just about any budget. So from the simplest things, just rearranging where things are, making sure those most commonly used items are in convenient spots, or thinking about a small investment in a new backsplash, which can have a huge impact, or going all the way and putting in that kitchen island that you've always dreamed about and doing a true kitchen remodel, which you'll probably want to bring in a pro for. And we have lots of great local expert pros on Angie.com to do projects just like that.
Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. We thank you all for tuning in to this edition of Conversations Daily News. We'll be with you guys on tomorrow to wrap up this week. Until then, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Daily News today. Let's make it a great one.